Bringing home my son who had left school early due to a fever, I was surprised to find my husband, Edgar, and my sister, Anna, at home, although they were supposed to be at a funeral. As I quietly approached the bedroom at the far end of the house, I heard voices coming from inside. Voices of a man and a woman. I recognized both of them. "You're being so capricious, calling me out of the blue has a lot of choices. But suddenly I had some free time. It's okay, thanks to that, I could enter this house openly." It was undoubtedly Edgar and then Anna in the bedroom. "Don't rush me, divorce isn't that simple. That's why I'm waiting. But please, make it quick." "All right." I felt the blood drain from my face. What did they just say? Divorce? Anna moving in here? What does that mean? "Help! The aunt is being attacked." Michael, trying not to alert the villains, quietly took out his kid's smartphone, activated the camera, and recorded a video of the two. The shocking video received by relatives left everyone astounded. My name is Hannah. I'm 32. I'm a freelance writer. I used to work for a company, but I went freelance after getting married and having a child. I met Edgar through a friend's introduction during college. We were part of a group that hung out together, and eventually, a few couples formed, including us. After graduating from college and getting accustomed to our jobs, the conversation of marriage came up naturally between us, and everything progressed smoothly. Despite a generally smooth-sailing life, there was one troubling issue. My sister, Anna. Anna, 3 years my senior and the same age as Edgar, had been divorced twice. Both times due to her infidelity. Anna has been willful and spoiled since childhood. Whenever our parents tried to discipline her, she would cry for hours on end to get her way. Perhaps because of this, I grew up to be a rather subdued child. Learning early on what was acceptable behavior was not, simply by observing my sister's tantrums. Anna's first marriage was at 18, right after graduating when she got pregnant by her then boyfriend. They got married, and she gave birth. The marriage ended in divorce when Anna's affair with a cafe waiter she frequented was discovered. The relationship with the affair partner did not last, and Anna ended up living aimlessly at our parents' house, not working and depending on them for support. During this time, she had relationships with several men, leading to her second marriage with the father of another child. However, this second marriage also did not last due to Anna's infidelity. Now, she's remarried for the third time, and it seems to be stable. Anna's behavior has caused endless stress and worry for me and our parents. For the sake of our family's peace, I hope she stays calm. After giving birth, I quit my job to become a freelance writer, focusing on raising my child. It's actually good. Working from home doesn't change much from being at home. His workplace is a top-tier company, considered elite. At company gatherings, such as anniversary parties, I've had the chance to speak with other wives, who were surprised that I'm not a stay-at-home wife. They support her husbands by managing the home. Despite having no complaints about our income. People often asked why I continued to work. Edgar probably wished deep down that I would become a full-time homemaker to support him fully. It hurt a bit. Thinking he appreciated my work. But in truth, he has acknowledged my career and allowed me to continue working. I've decided to keep any hurt feelings to myself and carry on as a normal couple. Dredging up such matters won't do any good. It's a minor issue. Something many couples face. I take pride in my work. And that pride keeps me going. That's enough for me. With these mixed feelings, I've been busy with childcare. Michael is growing up healthy and happy. Never seriously ill, always full of energy. Michael sure is energetic. It must be tough for you, Hannah, dealing with him every day. Really, no amount of time or energy seems enough. When I responded that way, Edgar laughed, always seeming like he had something more to say but never did. Probably what Edgar wanted to say was, "Then you should just quit your job." He wouldn't say it out loud, but his eyes did. Instead, he would say something like, "Well, we just have to adjust things as we go. Make sure you're not pushing yourself too hard, Hannah." He never once mentioned taking a more active role in parenting. Maybe his job is too demanding for that kind of flexibility, but I wished he would get more involved in raising Michael. We had a fight just once, shortly after Michael was born. Over the unaccustomed childcare, the multiple nighttime feedings, and diaper changes. I was exhausted from the lack of sleep. So, I asked Edgar, "Hey, could you possibly take a short paternity leave?" Edgar's company had a comprehensive maternity and paternity leave policy. After all, it's a major company leading the way in implementing such systems. But Edgar's response was, "You know what happens if I actually take it, right? It would affect my career advancement. That's why everyone's wife focuses on childcare." "So you're saying I should quit my job?" I retorted. Edgar looked pained. "I didn't say that. But if you're saying childcare is too hard, we need to figure something out. How about a babysitter?" Indeed, Edgar's salary could cover it. But what I wanted was for him to want to share the experience of raising our child together. "That's not what I'm talking about. Why can't you understand?" I cried out, but Edgar never really got it. "Postpartum, the hormonal balance gets all out of whack. You'll be fine. It'll settle down eventually," Edgar concluded, effectively dismissing the issue. Since then, I've decided not to touch on that topic again. There are things even couples can't see eye to eye on, I guess. Despite this misunderstanding, we've had no major conflicts since then. Edgar tacitly allowed me to work as long as it didn't affect our home life, and I didn't hesitate to outsource our household and childcare when necessary. My colleagues' wives secure their personal time and focus on self-improvement that way. You should do more of the same. I've come to accept this viewpoint, using what services I can to continue doing the work I love. That must be all right. As Michael grew, he became more mischievous, more active, and curious than other children. It's fun to watch, but sometimes he goes too far. Michael's favorite thing is heroes. "When I grow up, I'm gonna be a hero," he declares, getting excited every week watching his favorite shows, striking poses, and play fighting. That's fine. But then this happened. We were at the zoo, there was someone who was drunk causing a scene. Michael, believe it or not, decided to confront him. "You villain, face me!" he shouted, stepping forward and trying to transform with a hero pose. Edgar quickly scooped Michael up and we left the scene before the security arrived, but it was a close call. We sternly taught Michael that what he did was dangerous, though it seemed he didn't fully understand because of his youth. Yet, he must have been thinking about it because he asked later, "Mom, is it wrong to fight villains?" It seemed Michael believed he could defeat the drunk and be a hero. "You're still small and not a hero yet, right?" "Yeah." "So, you can't beat a villain, right?" "Dad and I don't want you to get hurt." Michael thought about it, then asked, "What should I do if there's a villain?" It seems he felt villains must be dealt with, no matter what. After thinking about what would be best to tell him, I said, "If you see a villain, tell a police officer." "A police officer?" "Yes, that's the best thing to do." Michael pondered this. "How do I tell a police officer?" "Just call out for one, I guess." "But what if there's no police officer nearby?" He really thinks things through, even at his age. "Well, you have your kid's smartphone, right?" Nowadays, we think it's necessary for children to have a way to contact a few specific people. The phone is set up to call me, Edgar, and my father-in-law. Pressing a button connects him to one of us. And he's also linked to us via social media. It was Edgar and I, along with his parents. Also, his sister and her husband, who live nearby and adore Michael, and their kids are part of our circle. My parents aren't tech-savvy at all, so we're only connected with Edgar's family in this way. When Michael posts photos or videos he's taken on this social media, they respond with hearts, stars, and comments. So, make phone calls or send photos and videos. Then someone will tell the police for you. I see. Michael was satisfied with this solution, so I quickly notified our group on social media about it. Everyone sent okay stamps, and Michael was thrilled. This should keep him from doing anything too risky. That was my only worry. Until then, I had believed keeping my distance from my troublesome sister was the best approach. Then one day, we got news that Edgar's great-uncle had passed away. It was his grandfather's brother, who had been living in a facility and died of old age, nearly at 100. I had only met him once when Edgar and I got married and hardly remembered his face. Unfortunately, I had work scheduled on the day of the funeral. This is a problem. I really need to go to this interview, Edgar offered. We weren't that close, and I can go to the funeral alone. It might be too much for Michael anyway. That might be best. I'm sorry, but could you? So it was decided Edgar would attend alone. His father agreed it was fine. I'll have to help out, so I'm leaving early in the morning, even though it's just the wake today. I have work in the morning, so Michael will be in daycare. I'll be back by evening. Edgar understood and left early. I saw him off and took Michael to daycare. We used to have a sitter come to the house, but I thought it was time for him to start interacting with peers. I've recently been using temporary daycare. My work ends in the morning, and I had plans to see a colleague's performance in the afternoon. But then, the daycare called suddenly. Michael had developed a fever. I apologized, canceled my plans, and went to pick him up. When I arrived, he seemed better than I expected but definitely had a flushed face. They can't keep children suspected of having an infectious disease. Let's take it easy at home today. Arriving home, I noticed something odd. A sinking feeling hit me. Michael, I know you're not feeling well, but could you wait here for a moment? I asked him to sit in the dining area near the entrance and started to search the house. Approaching the bedroom at the back, I heard voices. A man and a woman. I recognized both. You're being so capricious, summoning me out of the blue. Couldn't help it. Suddenly I got some free time. But it's fine, thanks to that, I could enter this house openly. It was undoubtedly Edgar and my sister in the bedroom. I can't wait to live here openly. My sister blurted out, unaware I was listening. Don't rush me, divorce isn't that simple. Edgar cautioned. That's why I'm waiting. But make it quick, okay? Got it. I felt my body temperature drop. What did they just say? Divorce? My sister moving in here? What does that mean? My sister, Anna, has been divorced twice, but now she's married to a wealthy company president. The child from her first marriage was taken by her ex-husband's side, as Anna's mother-in-law insisted that Anna couldn't possibly raise the child. Anna nonchalantly agreed, saying that having a child would interfere with her next romance and marriage. He's still hung up on me, believing I'll come back to him someday. Anna had said, and that was probably true. Such things only worked out for her because she's a beautiful and attractive woman. Something undeniable. Her whims always prevailed since childhood because she was doll-like and cute. Anna took after our handsome father, while I resembled our very ordinary mother. Anna, with her father's charm, was always the center of attention, while I, looking ordinary like our mother, never stood out much. Unlike Anna, I haven't led a dramatic life and continue to live ordinarily. So when I heard about her doings, I could only look at her with a cold eye, just like when we were kids. The year after Anna's second marriage and childbirth, I also got married and was blessed with Michael. We met normally, dated normally, and had a normal marriage. I was content and happy. While I was cherishing this ordinary happiness, Anna, due to infidelity again, was getting divorced for the second time. Finally, a man worthy of me has appeared. The previous two were just appetizers. Now it's time for the main course. She would say so rudely. Financially secure, Anna stopped causing troubles. So, it was unbelievable that she would go after my husband, Edgar, even if he was an elite. I was confused. Not knowing what to do, I suddenly felt nauseous. Without alerting them, I quietly left the scene and silently entered the bathroom to vomit. Though my stomach should have been empty, an indescribable substance kept coming up. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened. Since I didn't return for a while, Michael went looking for me and ended up near the bedroom. I was holed up in the bathroom, unaware of each other. Approaching the bedroom, Michael sensed something. Probably feeling adventurous. He quietly opened the door like I did. Instead of conversation, she heard moaning. Shocked, Michael recognized the person in distress as his aunt, whom he had met a few times. Someone was on top of his aunt, doing something bad.
Help! Aunt is being attacked!
Michael thought he had to defeat the villain. Remembering what to do in such situations, he quietly took out her kid's smartphone, activated the camera, and recorded the scene. Michael's smartphone camera had an infrared feature. In the dark, it clearly captured the pained expression on his aunt's face and the villain writhing on top of her. Michael quietly closed the door, went back to the safety of the dining room, and hurriedly sent the video to our social media group.
Aunt is being attacked by a villain, tell the police.
From Michael's action, the situation took an unexpected turn. After emptying my stomach, I was finally able to move. As a mother, it was shameful, but until then, I hadn't thought of Michael. I was just feeling sick and couldn't stop vomiting.
Michael!
Once the physical urge subsided, I rushed back to the dining room. Michael was sitting there, happily as before.
Michael, just stay quiet a little longer, okay? Okay.
Relieved to see Michael safe, I prepared to confront my husband and sister. On my way back from the bathroom to the dining room, I devised a plan. First, to lock those two in the bedroom. I took 2 chairs from the dining room and placed them in front of the bedroom. Lined up, the chairs matched the corridor's width, blocking the outward opening door. Then, I moved a bit away and called Edgar's phone. His belongings weren't in the entrance or dining room, probably inside the bedroom. As expected, the ringtone came from inside.
Damn, who is it at this time?
After hearing that, Edgar answered the call.
What's up?
It's a bit hard to talk right now, Edgar said, as casual as ever. Perhaps I had been deceived by him in the same way until now.
Sorry, Michael developed a fever. I had to pick him up from daycare and am on my way home, so I thought I'd let you know.
What?
Is Michael okay? It's nothing serious, but nowadays, even a slight fever means being sent home from daycare. I'm about to leave the daycare now.
After finishing the necessary calls, I hung up my smartphone and returned to the bedroom door. Inside, I could hear Edgar hurriedly telling my sister that I was coming back and getting ready to leave.
What's going on? The door won't open.
Edgar said in a panicked voice, trying to leave the room.
What's wrong? I don't know, the door just won't open.
Edgar struggled against the door, but the chairs I placed were blocking it from opening.
What's happening? I don't know.
They kept pushing against the door, but of course, it wouldn't budge.
We need to hurry before Hannah comes back.
Was it going to be a problem if I came back?
What?
Edgar exclaimed in surprise when he heard my voice. Ignoring Edgar's reaction, I made a call on my smartphone loud enough for both of them to hear. Hello, it's me.
Actually, I found my husband and my sister together in our bedroom.
I lightly explained the situation.
Hey, who are you calling?
Edgar pounded on the door, but I didn't answer. All right.
About an hour, right?
I'll wait.
Hey, who did you call?
The pounding continued, but I ignored it and returned to the dining room. I was worried about Michael. The noise from the bedroom door continued, but I decided not to respond until the person I was waiting for arrived.
Michael, I'm sorry. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. And, Mom, I told the police.
What?
I was taken aback by Michael's explanation.
Michael, did you see inside the bedroom?
Yeah, I was looking for Mom. What a thing for a child to witness. I regretted my actions. What should I do?
And then, because there was a villain, I told everyone to tell the police. Everyone?
Like Grandpa. Michael showed me the video he sent. Indeed, it looked like my sister was being attacked. But thankfully, Edgar's face wasn't visible. I thanked God for that small mercy. How hurt Michael would be if he knew his father was the villain. I calmed myself and started to put things in order. The call I made in front of Edgar and my sister was to my parents. I had wanted to call Edgar's parents too, but they were at a great-uncle's wake today. I couldn't possibly call there. So I planned to do it later. And yet, Michael had sent such a video to my father-in-law. As I was pondering what to do, the doorbell rang.
Hannah, are you there? What's going on? Is Michael okay?
My father-in-law was ringing the doorbell repeatedly. I had no choice but to face the situation. I went to open the door. And there were my in-laws, my sister-in-law and her husband, and other relatives.
Aren't you supposed to be at the great-uncle's wake? That's not important right now,
my father-in-law exclaimed, his face turning red.
We've explained the situation, and they've postponed the wake. The wake is postponed. Let's go inside,
my brother-in-law said, and all the relatives poured into our house. My father-in-law rushed to Michael, sitting in the dining room, and hugged him. My mother-in-law was tearful. And my sister-in-law and the relatives seemed relieved.
What exactly is happening? Aunt, that's your sister, right?
Michael seems to have a fever. Let's take him to her room, I mumbled, noticing Michael's condition. My sister-in-law noticed Michael was feverish and took him to the children's room.
Actually, I still don't quite understand the situation myself,
I said, explaining everything that had happened that morning to everyone.
And now, I have locked Edgar and my sister in the bedroom. Understood,
my mother-in-law said, staying with me in the dining room while everyone else headed to the bedroom. Soon after, my father-in-law's yelling could be heard. My father-in-law and the relatives confronted them, and many things came to light. At first, the two of them played dumb, but after my father-in-law showed them the video Michael sent, Edgar's shoulders slumped, and he started to tell everything. According to him, he began an affair with my sister while I was pregnant with Michael. A typical story of husbands straying during their wife's pregnancy. But the fact that the affair was with his wife's sister, and she was married, was particularly shameful. When I announced my pregnancy, my sister and her husband had come to congratulate us. That's when my sister asked Edgar for his contact information. As they started communicating, they grew closer. My sister has always been the type to attract men. Her first husband even tried to reconcile several times after their divorce. The second husband, angered by the affair, probably thought she would come back to him since she had no money. Unfortunately, her third husband had the means, forcing him to give up on her. Edgar, too, must have been ensnared by my sister's devilish charm. I never thought my sister would go after Edgar because her current husband is a president of a company. I thought Edgar, despite being an elite, wouldn't match up to a president. But my sister seduced Edgar. The reason was,
I couldn't stand Hannah marrying an elite.
Overheard by my parents who arrived later, my sister said this with a sulk.
Hannah should have lived a plain life, but here she is, living in a nice house, doing the job she loves. I couldn't stand it.
My sister, having ensnared Edgar, whispered to him,
Hey, why don't we get a divorce and be together?
I've fallen for you, Edgar. Edgar, who regretted getting involved with my sister to some extent, was gradually swayed by her words. Especially when she said, If it were me, I wouldn't work.
I'd just stay home, waiting for Edgar. Hannah loves her job more than she loves you.
Edgar, who deep down wanted me to quit my job, started to seriously consider divorce. I had no clue. Edgar had always been a good husband and father at home.
All right, let's get a divorce. You can remarry or whatever you want. But you'll have to pay what's due.
I confronted them with a divorce, and Edgar started to panic.
No, I don't want a divorce.
What?
I thought you wanted to marry my sister.
Isn't that what you wished for?
It's not like that,
Edgar said, as if he had finally come to his senses.
The thing with Anna was like a fantasy, a man's romance.
What a ridiculous excuse.
I don't care about that. We're getting a divorce anyway. Hannah, I'm sorry. I'll make sure Edgar pays for his actions.
My father-in-law said, looking defeated. Despite having such wonderful in-laws, their son had done something unimaginable. After all, he had been unfaithful with my sister for over 5 years. I wasn't going to let this go easily.
And my sister will have to pay for the sin too. What? Of course,
I said, and my sister laughed.
Fine, do whatever you want.
My sister said, leaving everyone speechless.
It didn't matter to me either way. As long as you and Edgar got divorced, that was all I wanted.
Why?
I told you, I couldn't stand you being happy. If you were miserable, that was enough for me. How dare you, Hannah, act so high and mighty?
My sister said this boldly, without a hint of remorse.
You think he will just accept it like that? Of course. He's crazy about me. If it's something money can solve, he'll pay. No, he won't pay.
Came a sudden voice. It was my sister's husband. In fact, my parents had contacted him.
I've heard everything you did. I've had enough. What are you talking about? You can't possibly leave me. I can't live with someone who would go after her brother-in-law just to make her sister miserable.
He replied, finally showing a change in Anna's expression.
Let's discuss the rest through lawyers. I don't want to see your face anymore. Wait, just a minute.
I'm sorry, Hannah. I must take my leave today. We'll talk again later, he said, turning to leave as Anna hurled words at his back.
Whatever, you're just a rich old man. Fine, I'll divorce you and marry Edgar.
He left without looking back. His departure was marked by a profound silence from everyone present. I divorced Edgar. And, of course, Anna also parted ways with her husband.
Well, it's fine. Edgar is still young and an elite. My life won't change.
Anna boasted, disregarding the 15-year age gap between her and her now ex-husband, who had indulged her until he could no longer forgive her actions. My parents declared they would cut ties with Anna, who seemed unfazed, only envisioning a bright future as the wife of an elite. Edgar might have called his affair with Anna a romance, but to Anna, Edgar was her romance. However, that romance crumbled in the face of reality. Edgar was demoted. Believing she was marrying back into the elite, Anna married Edgar as soon as the divorce prohibition period ended, but her plans went awry. Edgar, having started to badmouth me to his colleagues, faced the repercussions of his deeds becoming public knowledge at the company. He had been spreading rumors about me being a bad wife. No wonder I felt such a backlash at gatherings. But all of that was a lie. He had been unfaithful with my sister and tried to drive me out. Once the company found out, my colleagues started looking at me differently. Moreover, it was discovered that Edgar often requested time off from work, citing childcare as the reason. Edgar's company is top-notch. They genuinely offer paternity leave for men. Additionally, it was revealed he frequently requested leave under the pretext of childcare, despite claiming such policies were mere formalities. The truth was exposed when Anna's ex-husband, who had connections to Edgar's company, disclosed everything. Edgar was transferred to a subsidiary in a remote location. With their plans in ruins, they're now facing the consequences. The house we lived in became mine through property division. And I received child support for Michael, paid by Edgar, seemingly from his savings. Edgar is an elite, after all. He can easily recoup that money. Believing Edgar, the elite, could easily recover the financial loss, Anna and Edgar were left with nothing but debt. Anna's attempts to find a new man were thwarted as their notoriety spread, leaving them isolated and burdened with debt repayment. For the first time, Anna had to work. Having lived off others and done as she pleased, she now faced the consequences of her actions. I sold the house and moved back to my parents' home. While my career is going well, I worry about Michael, who witnessed such distressing events. With support from my parents, we're ensuring she doesn't carry emotional scars. Initially, Michael wondered about Edgar's absence but soon adapted. Since her earliest memories, Edgar's presence had dwindled due to his busy excuse.
Dad is fighting for justice at work.
Michael believes. Someday, he might learn the truth. But with the support of both my and Edgar's parents, we'll raise him surrounded by love.
When I grow up, I'll protect you, Mom. Just wait.
Michael asserts, aspiring to be a hero. For now, he's my little hero in training. Sure to grow into a strong and kind adult. Believing in that future, I continue forward. Seeing it as my duty.